eyes open to the ill effect of all this government nonsense. What do? We immediately in Washington recognize, oh yeah, there's a serious crisis out there, but what we need to do is spend more, borrow more, print more, and regulate more. And they think it's going to work. We have a medical care system that is totally inept after 35 years of government managed care and government inflation. It's a real mess. So we have too much government for all these years. It's all bankrupt. Medicare couldn't work without, it's insolvent. So what are they doing? Well, we're going to tremendously expand the program and introduce another $1 trillion medical care program. The odds of that working are slim to none. But the fortunate part is the American people are starting to recognize it. Here they come along and they say, well, there's 30 million people that don't have health care, and we're going to give them health care, and it's going to be for free. Not only can we give this free medical care to these people, and everybody's going to be happy, but it's not going to cost anything. Matter of fact, it's going to reduce the deficit. Fortunately, the American people are starting to pay attention. They're starting to pay attention and say, hey, what are these guys talking about? Who believes them anymore? So their credibility is crashing. Our credibility is rising. But the credibility has to be on policies as well. There was a famous saying once that there's a lot of people who believe in free enterprise and liberty, but they always have a but. And the but means that under whatever they want, it's okay. We'll cut other people's programs, but we're going to keep ours. But right now, though, even the people on the receiving end are getting very nervous because they know what kind of a problem that we're having. But sometimes all that does is make them more aggressive, going looking, how am I going to get more before the whole thing collapses? So we live in precarious times, and I expect that the financial crisis will linger on. We're not going to all of a sudden have a rebound and have a healthy economy the next year and have more employed. We're going to have more unemployed. But what we're going to have to do, though, is decide where we're going to cut the spending and what we're going to do. I have always proposed and continue to propose that the easiest place to get the American people to agree where we should cut spending should be the overseas spending. I would say spend the money here at home if you have to spend it. Inevitably, over many, many years, the candidate for president generally that argues the case that he would like to do less warmongering gets elected. George Bush did it in the year 2000. He was against policing the world and nation building, and he said Clinton did too much. But who was arguing the case for winding the war down in Iraq? The guy that won. He says that we'll have less. There's no war winding down in Iraq. We still have plenty of troops there. It's very unstable, and we're sending more contractors over there anyway. But then what do? Look, we go to Afghanistan. Oh, that's the good war. That's the long war. That's okay. We're going to continue to do it. But it's not working very well at all. We're spreading the war now. This administration is spreading the war into Pakistan. And they're bugging the living daylights. They're trying to pick a fight with the Iranians. We can't do it. There is nothing wrong with the policy of saying, if we had a chance to have a new policy with Afghanistan, what would it be? I would say, bring the troops home. Bring the troops home, and whoever represents the government say, look, this is what we want to do. We want to talk to you, and we want to be your friend, and we're willing to trade with you. But we're not going to send you any more money, and we're not going to give you any more threats to what you have to do. And then we could start saving some money. We could save, so we spend over $1 trillion maintaining our world empire. Our empire is going to come to an end. Yeah. So I tell them in Washington, I said this on the House floor the other day, I said there were several other Republicans and Democrats, we had a special order. I said, most likely the Congress will not listen to us. They are not going to have a change in policy because we were essentially talking about whether more troops should be sent into Afghanistan. I said, they might not listen to us, but we will win the argument, because empires come to an end because you can't afford it. We didn't have to fight the Soviet system because they collapsed on themselves for economic reasons. And that is what we're on the verge of doing. We're at a very precarious level because all we're doing is spending more and printing more as a greater threat at the dollar. And that's what the gold price is telling us, and that is what the markets are telling us. So we're at a point where if that crisis hits, the real threat will be an increase in government force trying to hold it together. Very, very dangerous. Now, is this the arguments I'm making? Should this be so strange? No, it's really the argument of the policies that made America great. You know, individual liberty and responsibility and local government, foreign policy of minding our own business, a sound currency, market economy, and private property and contracts. What's so strange about that? That's what would make America prosperous and free. So we don't have to invent something new. I believe that all of us should be grateful that we live in America. Most of us born and raised here in America, and that is good. And I feel very grateful about it. But I am also very concerned that if we don't restate the basic principles that gave us our liberties and our prosperity, it's going to be gone because what we have today, although there's still a lot of prosperity in this country, still a lot of cars driven around and a lot of TVs and a lot of activity that people, still seem to be doing quite well. But it's all on borrowed money. I mean, we have to go on our knees and bow to those that are our bankers, and this is a real shame as far as I'm concerned, and it can be reversed. So the day is coming. The monetary issue is great. The Federal Reserve, I am delighted, is the target because it wouldn't have happened without the Fed. The Fed is there to hide things because the victims we don't know about. When they print money, not everybody suffers the same. But we do know that when the bubble is being formed, not a whole lot of people complain. Those individuals who were on the receiving end and buying a house that didn't qualify, and they bought it for $100,000 and no money down, and the house went to $200,000 and they borrowed against that, they're a participant in this. But they're also victimized too by the promotions and the people who got to build the houses and run the mortgage companies and the Wall Streeters who were involved. They made a lot of big bucks, and when the bubble burst, guess what? Who got stuck? The average guy got stuck. The American taxpayer got stuck because we had to buy up all those worthless securities and bail out the people who had been doing so well. Now, one of the reasons why looking at the Fed is so important is to find out who are the beneficiaries. They have bought up over $800 billion worth of mortgage securities. And sometimes they say they were illiquid. Well, when they're illiquid and nobody else will buy them, that's because they're worthless. But now we own them. So I think we have a right to know who got the money, how much they got paid for it, and whether they got the market price or not, and why we got stuck with the bills.